I was so excited, I was so surprised when Brenda told me that she had been wondering if she could sort of throw my name into the ring there to see about having me come to speak to you. And it surprised me because even though she and my husband went to school together, she and I have only been together 3 separate times. And I thought, how could she possibly know that I like to stand in front of a crowd and sing and dance and just share my heart? So I was really quite speechless when she asked me. And then when she brought it to the ladies, whichever ladies it was, to ask if I could do this, to think that you, on her opinion, decided that I could come, I just look at it as a God thing. God was leading you, and He was leading me, and I'm just delighted. So thank you so much. And what a fabulous dinner. That was really good. I had to go check my teeth twice before I could come and stand up here. What I want to share with you tonight and talk about is the way that God leads us, the way that He guides us. And it doesn't matter if you're young or old or any place in between, God's business is guiding us and just going with us, going before us, showing us the way. So that's what I want to be looking at. I want you to be thinking of in your own life some of that, some of the ways that God has led you. I'd like to start by, I see we've got some younger children here, and so if you're brave, let's say if you're about 12 or younger, would you dare to stand up so I could see who's here who's 12 or younger? Do you dare to stand up? All right, look at these girls. All right. And I have a question for you. Now is when you have to be brave. That didn't take much courage to stand up. You have to be brave now to answer a question. The question is, what do you want to be when you grow up?
A ballerina.
What? A ballerina? A ballerina. Can you dance already? Are you dancing already? Yes, how exciting. What else? Does someone else have something they want to be? A lawyer? Where did you come up with that idea? Very smart. All right. All right. Does anyone else want to say? Yes. A veterinarian. This is impressive. Very good. Very good. I just want to tell you that when I was your age, I never thought about what I wanted to be when I got older. At least I don't remember, but I'm getting to that age now where I don't remember really a lot. But I don't remember thinking about what I wanted to be when I grew up. Most of the girls, when we were little, the girls around me wanted to be nurses. And all I can tell you is I knew that that is exactly what I didn't want to be. I did not want to be a nurse. Shortly, sort of in that same time period, I do remember thinking, because I always have had this sort of spiritual bent in me. There's just something spiritual. And I thought I could be a nun. Yeah, I think I want to be a nun. Then I found out nuns are Catholic, and I was Lutheran. Scratch that one. So that was the end of that. All right, so now do we have some girls here who are teens? I didn't see a lot of teenage. Are there any teenage girls here? All right. So we're gonna go a little bit more. Let's say, how about ladies that are 30-ish, 30, 40-ish, I don't care, somewhere in there or younger. All right? If you're willing, you want to stand up, some of the younger ladies in the church. Okay. Well, look at these beautiful ladies. Wow. Let's clap for them, too. And I have the same question for you. Okay, now you're maybe already doing something. Okay, I was going to ask the teenagers, okay, because they're closer. But even at this age, now are you kind of where you wanted to be, or what kind of dreams do you still have? You're young enough to have plenty of dreams. Who wants to share something? Okay?
Right now I'm in graduate school, and my dream is to be a marriage and family therapist, but I know that can take me a lot of different directions, and I've already seen that. I never ever thought I would work with adolescents, but here I am 2.5 years into a really wonderful job working with adolescents in crisis, which is never something I thought I would do. You all know that I was a musician before, and we all probably thought I was going to be somewhere playing the flute or singing, and my path changed, so I...
That's it. Excellent, thank you. Anyone else want to share? Where you are planning to go? Yes.
I will. About 3 or 4 years ago, I finished a program for veterinary technicians. I got my degree, it was a 2-year degree, and I've been doing it. In her spare time. In my spare time.
In your spare time.
So in that way, I'm kind of living my dream.
All right. Very good. Very good. Well, I'm going to go back to my teen years, because even in those years, I didn't really have any great plans, although I saw the little germinations, the little seeds of wanting to write. I did a little family newspaper. Maybe everybody does that. And, I wrote about the exciting things going on. We got up and went to school and we came home. And of course, our household duties that we had to do, I'm sure they were good. And I had 3 brothers, so I'm sure I wrote plenty of editorials about the frustrations of living with 3 brothers. But once again, I didn't really have any great plans going on in my head. And even though I loved school and was good at school, I never thought about going to college. I guess because I knew our family didn't have money to send me to college. And it made me wonder, as I was thinking about this, back in those years, did we just not have so much, like financial aid and scholarships? Were they just not so available, or did I not know? I don't know, but I never thought about going to college. So 6 months after I graduated from high school, I was married, and 2.5 years after that is when I count my Christian life beginning. That's when I really gave my life to the Lord. I had asked Jesus into my heart the whole time as I was growing up, because we watched Billy Graham, of course, on TV, and at the end when he would say, those of you at home in the quiet and comfort of your own living room can ask Jesus into your heart. I did that every time. And so I guess, I was saved there, but really in my early 20s then, I realized it wasn't just asking Jesus to come into my heart, but it was giving my life to Him, really submitting to Him, wanting to do what would be pleasing to Him. This was in the early 70s, and at that time it seemed like there was a real growth, or at least a sort of an awakening of Christianity, and at that time it was called the Jesus movement, and people that were involved with that were called Jesus people, or in a rather derogatory way, maybe Jesus freaks. But I guess other people, out there, sort of thought we were a little bit radical to be in church every time the church doors were open, and church doors were open a lot back then. And it was just what we did, and it was an exciting time in my life. Even though I guess you're already seeing that I'm not a great planner, I'm not a big dreamer, but listen to this verse from Psalm 37, verse 23. The Lord directs the steps of the godly. He delights in every detail of their lives. So I maybe didn't have great plans, but God was directing my steps. God is directing your steps, because He delights in every detail of your life. And I'm sure you all know these verses from Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not to your understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not to your understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Yes, he will direct your path. So for me, a non-planner, those verses are so encouraging. I didn't have a plan for my life, but God did. And I'm going to just share a few kind of crazy, wild things that showed that God was directing my life. And we don't need crazy, wild things, but these are kind of crazy, wild things, and I just kind of love them. Back when I first gave my life to the Lord, we were attending a small church, but it was always just packed. And one evening or day, I don't even know what it was, but there was this table and there were brochures on it about a Bible school. And I thought, oh, cool, a Bible school, like a vacation Bible school for adults, a week or two this summer. I'm going to do that, so I signed up. Well, turns out it wasn't a 1 week or 2 week summer vacation Bible school. It was Bible school. Yeah, 2 years of Bible school. But it was at the church. It was just in the mornings, every morning. And I got to, we studied the books of the Bible and church history and Greek, and I mean for 2 years. And I'm just so thrilled with that, because that gave me my foundation that has just kept me solid. It doesn't matter where I've been, all of the things that I've done. What a solid foundation, and I always have wished that could be something available to everyone. Around the same time, people were really taking the scriptures, the Bible verses, and putting them to music, like that one I just sang. Just taking the Bible verses, putting them to music. And so some friends said, you know, God can give you songs. Really? Okay. I went out, I bought a guitar. I bought a guitar, I taught myself some chords, and the Lord gave me songs. Crazy, right? It was just so easy to just believe the Lord. This is what he says, this is what he's doing, and so I just jumped into that. All right, another crazy thing. There were about 4 or 5 families that got together to pray. I guess we were doing Bible studies, and we decided, I'm sure after a lot of prayer, we really felt like we should start a Christian community. And we settled on a teensy-tiny little town in northern Minnesota called Brimson. We sold houses or whatever we had, and we kind of threw them all in a pot, and we moved to northern Minnesota. We bought an old gymnastics camp, and so there were some buildings there that could be made use of, and so I guess we thought that, you know, there must just be natives up there in northern Minnesota. I mean, we lived in Minnesota. I don't know what we were thinking, but we thought we were going to go and save these poor people out in the sticks up there. And we moved up there, and as we got to know the people, well, surprise, surprise, they were Christians. Everywhere we looked, there were Christians all around here in the woods. I mean, we were really in the middle of the woods, and Christians all around us. And so it's like, oh, I guess we weren't hearing the Lord so well on that. But what we ended up doing was to start a little Christian school, so that these kids didn't need to get on a bus and ride for an hour and a half to the nearest town and an hour and a half home again, and they were able to come right there to that centralized location and get their education. So we had a certain plan, and God had another idea. And then finally my daughters were 4 and 7 at the time. We were living up there in Brimson. And we moved to Haiti, from the frigid northern Minnesota to Haiti. And we went, so I was going to teach English. Of course, I hadn't been to college. I wasn't a teacher. I didn't know what language they spoke there. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know where Haiti was. But we went, and wow, I mean, we ended up spending 7 years there, not all in one shot, but what, I mean, it's crazy, right? This is like crazy, but this is how my life with the Lord began, and it hasn't all been crazy. But when I look back now, I say, wow, God was really leading. He was really leading us to places. Had I thought about it, if I had leaned on my own understanding, none of those things would have happened, because they were unbelievable. They would have never happened. But these things are all good and fun, and I love looking back at them, but life isn't always all just those fun things. There's the rough spots, and sometimes those rough spots go on and on and on. And the thing is that even in those times, God is leading us. He's leading us, helping us through those rough times. After I had been married almost 24 years, and that marriage ended in a divorce. And I'm not saying that God led me to the divorce, but I am saying God led me through the divorce so that I could keep my sanity and, keep, at least get a life that could be pulled back together. And God helped me do that. And even now, looking back at that, I see how God has been so faithful. During the long years of trying to become someone again after not being a wife anymore, the verse that really spoke to me during this time was from Jeremiah 18:4. And it says, "But the vessel that he was making of clay was spoiled or marred in the hand of the potter." So imagine the potter, he's making something, he's making a vessel, and somehow it gets lopsided, or all of a sudden there's a piece sticking out over here that he wasn't intending. And he doesn't just throw it away. It says that he remade it. He remade it into another vessel as it pleased the potter. And so what was so amazing to me was to realize that going through a divorce, even though it's not what God wants, he didn't just say, well, enough of that, and, chuck the lump of clay, speaking of me as the lump of clay. No, I was in his hand. I was still in his hand. Going through a divorce, having a horrible time, I was still in his hand. And he was still making me. He was just doing a little reshaping, kind of changing things around a little bit, and he got me through it. What a blessing, right? And you've probably had the same kinds of experiences. So now, I want to ask the wise women that are here, that are now above 30 or 40, wherever. If some of you would please stand, or all of you, if you're getting a little older than the young ones, please stand. Come on, a few of you anyway. Yeah, there we go. And a clap for them too. All right. And my question to you ladies is, have your dreams come true?
Yes.
You're doing what you hope to do?
Yes. Just got my master's degree and I'm applying to teach K through 5.
Excellent. All right. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Yeah. My dreams have definitely come true.
Uh-huh.
It took a long time and a lot of these women telling me what my dream was.
I love that.
I work with our children here at the church, and to be here in my church is definitely a dream.
Oh, what a blessing. Oh, I love hearing that. I love hearing that. But even as we're going through all of the seasons in our lives, I was just so tickled to see these tables, all of the seasons in a year and the seasons in our life. Through them all, we are being made and remade, and God remains so faithful. Sometimes, though, we can get discouraged. Like, well, what happened to that great plan I had? What happened to that dream? And if we start looking at people around us, it's even worse. We really shouldn't do that, because God has created each of us individually. He has made me. I prayed for so many years in my life, Lord, change me. Lord, change me. Lord, change me. I don't know why He didn't just, tell me to zip it. I kept praying that. And it's only recently that I've realized what a terrible prayer that really is, because God made me. And so now I pray, Lord, please make me the best me I can be. Because you're you. He didn't make you someone else. He made you. He made you. That's who you are. And so we just want to be the best me that we can be. Listen to this quote from Anna Sobrapina, and I don't know if I'm saying the name correctly. Lord, when I lose hope because my plans have come to nothing, help me to remember that your love is greater, is always greater than my disappointments, and that your plans for my life are always better than my dreams. God's plans are always better than our dreams. And they're so satisfying when we get in line with what He's doing. So, now, what about my unplanned life? Me, the non-planner, the non-dreamer, what am I doing? Well, I'm a pharmacist. Yeah. Never went to college. I'm a pharmacist. How could it be? I married a dairy farmer. I assist him on the farm. I like to think of myself as a pharmacist. It's such a lovely ring, don't you think? I like it. And looking back at the places that I've been in my life, I find that living on a dairy farm is the hardest thing I've ever done. And I don't know if it's just because I'm living it right now, and maybe 50 years from now, I'll be dead, and but really, looking back, life always looks a little bit rosier. This has been so hard for me. But what I realized, first I don't want to forget this important part. People always ask me, did you ever dream, did you ever imagine you'd end up on a dairy farm? Well, no. I mean, really, how could I? I never thought of a dairy farm. I never dreamed of a dairy farm. I never even had a dairy farm in my worst nightmares. But here I am. And I've found that over the years, I've been on the farm now for about 7.5 years. I spent a lot of the first couple of years were, kind of fun and exciting. There were kitty cats. Everything was new. It was pretty exciting. But then I had to start helping with chores because of certain situations. I had to start helping with milking cows. Not a pretty picture. Not fun. And I just got a bad attitude, and I lived with a bad attitude for a number of years. Seriously. I'm good at smiling, though, even with a bad attitude, so don't worry about that. But on the inside, bad attitude. And I guess it just took some time to finally realize that God led me to the dairy farm. Right? He led me to the dairy farm. If He led me to the dairy farm, there must be something good there, right? Besides the people, and the kitty cats, So, when I finally really grabbed onto that God brought me to the dairy farm, I was able to stop blaming for the dairy farm for every bad thing that happened. If I woke up and it was a bad day, well, darn, it was the cow's fault. And you know, things didn't go my way, and I didn't get in from chores until 9:30 at night. It was like, oh, I really hate this farm. But to say God brought me here, God is leading me here, has made all the difference. And so now I really, really and truly, I am content. It's really like a day and night change. And I'm happy to be on the farm. I'm pretty close to happy to be doing the chores. It won't be forever, right? But I'm rejoicing and I'm praising the Lord because I see that He has a plan and I'm going with that plan. While I was in Haiti, I'm going to end with this a little bit. While I was in Haiti, I learned this song. Peut-être c'est pas sous yon gros montagne, ni dans yon pays bien loin. Peut-être c'est pas dans yon grand bataille que ou va servir à point. Même si c'est moi pas ou qui parle, même si moi pas rien, ma réponse bon Dieu, ak me ou sous moi. When I got back to the States, I never knew that song until I got to Haiti and I learned it in Creole. But when I got back to the States, I found out it's a hymn. It's in our hymnals. The tune might be a little bit different, but I never could quite get it the English way. But I do know the song now in English. It may not be on the mountain's height or over stormy seas. It may not be on the battlefront, my Lord will have need of me. But if by a still small voice He calls to pass, I do not know. I'll answer, dear Lord, with my hand in yours. I'll go where you want me to go. I'll go where you want me to go, dear Lord, over mountains, plains or seas. I'll say what you want me to say, dear Lord. I'll be who you want me to be. So that song, that hymn,